While we're out here giving disclaimers, this video is not meant to defame or slander Pierogi.
Oh, you smell that? Oh, yeah, that's bullshit. It's bullshit, all right. And by the end of the video, I think you'll agree that this is nothing more than a scorned lover trying to take revenge on someone who had a failed affair. Oh, another beautiful day, another YouTuber exposed video, but this one is not quite like the others, because this one seems more like a hit piece than an actual factual retelling. And despite what Savannah will tell you about it not being a hit piece,
Video is not some kind of hit piece against scammer Payback.
there's no other way to take this other than the fact that it's a hit piece. Savannah Marie, who is by no means a huge YouTube creator, actually does some pretty decent content for the most part, has 80,000 subscribers, just put out a video yesterday about pierogi, not to be confused with the delicious Polish meal, from the popular YouTube channel Scammer Payback, who has over 7 million subscribers. When I first watched this video, I thought to myself, no, not pierogi, he's supposed to be a hero, a good valued Christian man, who spends his time taking from those who take from us. But as the video went on, I kept thinking to myself, is she not hearing the same things I'm hearing from this girl? So I'm going to show you why Savannah Marie is completely wrong in this whole video. Not about everything, but about a lot of things. I don't want to break down every single aspect of this video because frankly, this will be like a 3-hour long video and I'm not really trying to take that much time from you guys. So instead, I'm going to focus on just like the really important stuff that I think completely eradicates the narrative that Savannah's trying to paint here. So just to catch you up with the whole dramatic intro that Savannah put together, it was 7:43 a.m. and she gets an email from her name's Hannah. That's all you need to know. All right, don't question me.
7:21 a.m. I opened my inbox to find an email addressed to me by someone named Hannah.
It's very dramatic. So Savannah was sent an email from a girl named Hannah, and the email reads, "My name is Hannah. I go by the pseudonym Dictionary. I used to work for Scammer Payback Pierogi as their translator for approximately 2 years. I'm reaching out to you in hopes of exposing a sexual predator that threatens to use his authority and connections to cover up his sexual deviancy. I'm worried for my safety. I started working for Pierogi around the time of this video." She goes on to add that during Scammer Payback's videos, she was used as a bit of a thirst trap against some of the head people of the scammers that Pierogi was trying to expose.
Me being used as a thirst trap in order to gain information from the scammer, and this is also how I started working for Scammer Payback as a live stream and video translator. A short time after working with him, it became clear that his intentions of our relationship were more than just professional.
So she says in her email that Pierogi wanted to make his intentions known to not keep their relationship professional, but to make it also personal. And I'm going to show you coming up why that is complete bullcrap and how it wasn't Pierogi's idea to do this, it was actually hers.
During which I was groomed by my boss and used as a sexual object.
Now, I'll admit she was used as a sexual object by Pierogi, but by no means was she groomed. And she was 110% a willing participant. In the future, I'm going to be laying out evidence supporting all of these claims that I'm making right now.
He used to get drunk and message me all the time, asking me to get HKD, high-key drunk with him. Eventually, this led to him asking for videos and nudes and poses to reenact for his sexual fantasies.
I also want to make sure that everybody realizes that I'm not giving Pierogi a pass here. The behavior that you're going to see in this video is absolutely appalling and should never be done by someone who is married or in a relationship, especially one that involves kids.
I would like to add that he is married with children and his public image relies highly on him being a man with Christian values.
All right, so they're saying this isn't a hit piece, but she legit says that his reputation depends on him being a man who is represented with Christian values. So why bring that up if you weren't trying to do a hit piece or absolutely trying to destroy this man's reputation? Seems like pretty damning evidence, doesn't it? Now, what if I were to tell you that during the interview that Savannah does with Hannah, the narrative in which she's trying to paint in this email gets completely eradicated by her own admission? Now, before we get into the interview part where I point out all the things that are hypocritical compared to the email, I just want to set up the narrative that Savannah's trying to paint here so that you guys can see the intention behind this video and not see that I'm just making a video just to bash Savannah. And I'm certainly not not victim blaming here. Because to be honest, the only victim in this whole story is Pierogi's family. All I want to do in this video is point out that there's a difference between being groomed and being sexually harassed and being a willing participant in an affair, which is all this is. Again, I just want to reiterate, I am not giving Pierogi a pass here. His behavior during this is unacceptable for any man that is in a committed relationship with a family. I will say that Savannah does admit that she doesn't know the dynamics of Pierogi's relationship. For all we know, it could be an open relationship, and this is absolutely fine with his wife. However, we honestly don't know that. Pierogi hasn't made a statement yet whether or not he says that, but regardless, it doesn't make him a predator. If anything, it kind of just makes him a scumbag. If you're not familiar with what Scammer Payback does, they actually do really incredible work. Most of us have dealt with getting scam calls, but some people aren't as technically literate as many of us are when it comes to technology. They'll stop and watch and monitor who these people are targeting, and before they send like their entire life savings to one of these scammers, people like Pierogi or some other people under him will make sure that they call these people who are about to be scammed and let them know, hey, do not send that money. So what they do is actually incredibly important work. It doesn't make it okay for what he does, but I'm just saying that what this guy does is actually very important work, and I hope that this video in some way or another allows him to continue doing that work. Even Savannah Marie herself suggests that the work needs to continue as well.
And I would never dream of taking that away from them. This video is about Pierogi as a person, not Scammer Payback. So please don't send any hate, bullying, harassment, anything like that to anyone involved in this situation. While we're out here giving disclaimers, this video is not meant to defame or slander Pierogi. Defamation and slander would require that I am knowingly spreading false information.
No, instead you're just spreading false narratives
About him, and I would not be making this video if I were not 100% convinced by the evidence that I will be sharing with you today.
that this will get me a hell of a lot of views.
The rest of whatever I say here is strictly my own opinion and my own personal interpretation of the situation.
At least she was bold enough to say this is just my interpretation of the situation, even if my interpretation sucks, and even if my interpretation ignores half of the stuff that Hina tells me, and I just run off with my own idea of how this all went down.
And I also recognize that other people might interpret things differently than me.
Yeah, like some of us might actually look at this and see it for what it is, instead of trying to paint someone a predator just so that you get some more views on your YouTube channel.
Personally though, I do believe everything that Hina has told me. Hina even allowed me access into her private Discord account.
It honestly baffles my mind that Savannah had this much access to the resources and still came up with this narrative that she's going to try and paint for you guys coming up.
I was also able to confirm that this Discord account that she claimed to be Pierogi was actually attached to his YouTube and Twitch channels.
I do believe that Pierogi is the one in these DMs. However, again, I'm not here to defend him for what he did. I'm just here to disprove the narrative that what he was doing was predatory.
Being said, this is all still anecdotal, and while there are many screenshots and screen recordings to back up Hina's claims, those screenshots did come from Discord channels that were constantly being recreated and then deleted over and over again. The only evidence of the existence of this specific Discord channels that we'll be profiling here are in the form of Hina's screen recordings and screenshots.
So she's saying literally the only person who has this evidence is Hina. And that makes it kind of a he said, she said type thing. And since he said nothing so far, all we have is what she said, and we're going to try to break that down.
The screenshots that Hina sent at first were intriguing, but I wasn't sure exactly what I was looking at or what any of the screenshots meant. So obviously I responded to Hina's email, and shortly after, we were connected on Discord.
All right, here's where we get into the good stuff, all right? This is the interview part. This is the part that I really wanted to show you guys, because I think if you follow along with me and how I interpret this, then you might see why I felt it necessary to make this video.
I want to know why you reached out to me specifically to help you, because I know that you have some contacts and stuff. What made you reach out to me?
I liked how objective you were, right? You weren't really siding with one person, you weren't giving both sides. And that's something that I really wanted.
Yet she says she wants both sides represented, but you'll see going forward that the only side represented is Hina's, and Savannah's going to take Hina's story and kind of manipulate it and twist it a little bit to make Pierogi look really bad. Savannah did reach out to Pierogi for comment, but I'm sure at this point it's just a whole lot for him to take on, and Savannah does make a good point in her video that his silence is probably just him trying to hope that this story doesn't get traction, and maybe it'll just all go away if he doesn't act like it's there. But I hate to break it to you, Pierogi, the story's out, man, and you gotta come to your own defense, man. You gotta advocate for yourself. I know that it's hard with your wife and everything, and Lord knows your family life has just been shattered completely. But again, man, it's important to speak up and advocate for yourself. I don't know, maybe he's looking into litigation or something. Pierogi majorly fucked up here, and I think the only way to get any kind of respect back would be to admit, yeah, I did this with her, but I was no way preying on this girl. It was a mutual affair that we were doing.
And the way I released it. Secondly, if someone knows me, obviously people can go like, oh, they know her, they're just siding with her.
I spent the past few months really just debating on whether or not I even wanted to take something on of this magnitude.
Savannah, you should have listened to your inner voice and maybe covered it more impartially instead of painting like a narrative to try to make this look like it's something it's not.
But ultimately we ended up here because I feel like, in my opinion, Hina deserves justice.
Justice for what? You guys will see. Like, I just want to jump ahead and get to the good stuff, but I gotta lay the groundwork so that you guys follow along from the beginning of the story. By the time this is over, there's really no justice to be had. The only justice should be had would be like Pierogi's wife divorcing him. That's pretty much the only justice that you can get.
Pierogi deserves to be held accountable.
I do agree that Pierogi should be held accountable for his actions, but painting him like a predator, you guys will see why that just doesn't make sense here.
And I think that there's a lot that humanity as a whole can learn from this situation. And hopefully it will improve workplace relationships somewhere, somehow moving forward.
I will agree with Savannah here that, yeah, if you're a big YouTuber, just avoid it, man. It ain't worth it, all right? It just ain't worth it.
There are two sides to every story, and what we're about to hear is Hina's side. I pride myself on being able to hear out both parties, to hear every side of every story. But Pierogi did not give me that opportunity, despite me exhausting literally every avenue I had to contact him.
Yeah, boy, gee, why? I wonder why he didn't want to comment here. You're trying to expose him. Eventually, Hina was able to reach out to Pierogi and get him to respond, and this is basically how that conversation went.
P, I need to have a serious conversation with you. Please let me know whenever you have time.
Sup, how goes it?
Yay, would you be able to do a quick voice chat, or would you rather I type it out?
Yeah, type it out because I'm pretty slammed, sorry.
Okay, well, I wanted to be the one to let you know since I still consider you my friend. Regardless of everything, Savannah Marie will be contacting you shortly via email. Please do read it. It's very important for me, please.
What is that?
Well, she sent the email. Read it and you'll know. Just know that I do and will always consider you my friend.
Yeah, you're my friend, but I'm about to just try and ruin your life, bro.
What do you mean?
I wanted you to hear this from me first, since I respect you and I really want you to be able to give your comment. I'm exposing you for workplace sexual harassment.
Surprise! Aren't you excited? Like, this is something we get to do together. I get to just destroy your reputation. You should have left your wife. Told you. Isn't this, like, so exciting? I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. I wonder what everybody's gonna do. Are they gonna, like, cancel you? This is like, I'm on the edge of my seat.
After that last message, silence. Neither myself or Hina have heard anything from Pierogi since then.
Yeah, gee, no shit. I wonder why. Imagine someone coming up to you and being like, I just want to let you know how much I respect you and I care about you. But you know that dirty little secret that you wouldn't want anybody to know? Well, yeah, I'm about to go tell the whole world, but I hope that we can get through this together. What the hell is wrong with people?
But needless to say, he knows this is happening. He has knowledge of this video being created. And he had every opportunity to provide a statement to me or even defend himself. Not even to me. He could have just talked to Hina if he wanted to.
Frankly, I don't know what you would even respond in this situation. Like, there's nothing he could say without actually implicating himself. So if his stance is to say, no, this never happened, these are all fraudulent, maybe, I don't know what he's going to do. He's just going to be like Shaggy and be like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Some might say that this is just him playing it smart. but in my opinion, his silence is a statement in and of itself.
Yeah, but what is that statement, Savannah? Is it, oh yeah, I'm a horrible, horrible predator and I was grooming my person? Or is it just, I got caught cheating? Fuck.
The email I sent to him was basically just like, hey, Hina is going to be exposing you for sexual harassment in the workplace. Here's your opportunity to speak to me on the situation, to provide a statement, etc. Please respond, basically.
Oh my god, isn't it so funny? It's so funny that he's not responding about me trying to destroy his life. Oh my god, it's a knee slapper.
Literally, I just wanted to give him the chance to give me a statement. And I think part of that is probably because I didn't even initially tell him exactly what Hina had sent me, what evidence I had, etc. So he didn't want to further implicate himself by essentially admitting to something I had no proof of.
It wasn't me.
He might just be banking on the story not gaining any traction.
It wasn't me.
And we all should know by now that the number one rule to dealing with drama, if you want to call it that, on the internet is just to not respond.
It wasn't me.
Because by responding, you're essentially creating the Streisand effect, bringing more attention to the situation. If you ignore the drama, 9 times out of 10, it just kind of fades into obscurity.
It wasn't me.
And I think he's taking his chances on that one. If no one really hears about this, does he even need to address it?
It wasn't me.
This is like a really slick way of her being like, everybody share this video. Try to help me grow my YouTube channel. He needs to hear about this. We need a response. It's kind of some sneaky shit, but hey, you know what? Go get that clout, girl. Who cares if it destroys a man's life?
The allegations go farther than just sexual harassment in the workplace.
Do they though? Or are you trying to embellish what's going on here?
One accusation, for instance, would be that this should be, and probably is considered by many, to be cheating on his wife.
Well, yeah, I think we can all agree there. This is emotional cheating, all right? Getting nudes sent to you when you're in a committed relationship is pretty scumbaggy.
It wasn't me.
Not that it's any of our business, but he could have at least easily shut down any accusations of cheating by saying, like, my wife knows about Hina, we're in an open relationship, bye. Peace out.
Yeah, he could do that, but that's not the narrative you're painting. You're painting that he's a predator. All right, it's a completely different thing than just an unfaithful Christian man.
But he didn't do that. He didn't give me that. And that is one thing that I was hoping to get clarification on. Even if he said that and it wasn't true, he could have just shut down that specific accusation right away and then addressed it and handled it privately with his family without any of us knowing.
It wasn't me.
Because it really ultimately is none of our business.
Yeah, it's none of our business except I'm making a YouTube video for it because you know what? Clout's king, baby.
I figured the best way to present this story is to let Hina just tell it for herself.
While I push a narrative that gets you guys really riled up and angry.
Using my platform. So the following interview is Hina's side of the story.
Finally, now let's get to the good stuff. This is where your guys' opinion's gonna start to really take shape, okay?
Please don't take anything from this video as anything more than anecdote.
Okay, great. We got a story that we're breaking that's gonna destroy a man's life, but you know what? Just remember, this is all anecdotal, guys. Entertainment.
While I honestly don't believe that there are other people right now in similar situations with Pierogi specifically, you know, I definitely think that Hina is the only one. I still feel like this video is important to publish because of the admittedly unlikely possibility that there could be others.
This is a really cunning tactic right here. She's not telling you that there's others, but she's trying to hint to you that there might be others, so you might get a little angry even though there's no proof that there's others, and for all we know, this is just a one-off affair that this guy had, but hey, you know what? There could be more, all right? This guy could be a huge monster. We'd have no proof of that, but as long as I plant those seeds in your head, we can break a big old angry predator tree.
Who are too scared to speak out and lose their jobs with Scammer Payback.
This is just her way of virtue signaling to you that what she's doing is noble and it's kind, even if it's not quite honest.
Even if it's just a 1% chance that there's another person out there, it's worth it to me.
Because that ad revenue slaps, baby.
And we would be silly not to consider the possibility that if none of this got brought to light now, you know, what is the possibility that Pierogi could go hire a new translator, a female translator, and then end up pursuing a similar relationship with that person.
You notice that she uses the word relationship because that's what it was. It was an affair. The guy had an affair. Pretty much painting the picture that this guy is a serial cheater. You could have just made the video about that, but no, you had to point out that he's a predator and he's a groomer and he's manipulative, a terrible human being. All right, finally we get to the interview where we're going to finally start seeing the behind the scenes of what actually took place.
I started with $750. That was a decent amount of money for me. That meant I didn't have to like budget control everything.
You had some disposable income.
Actually, you know what? In the end, it wasn't disposable income because it ended up being spent on booze. The beginning, it was a really nice thing to have, you know, a bit of wiggle room.
Something I want you to keep in mind while listening to Hina talk about this is that she is from a very poor part of the world. While the money that she made working for Scammer Payback would be considered insignificant here in America, this salary was far more than the average income of most working people in the country she lives in.
Yeah, so I want you to keep in mind that even though what she says is going to kind of go against the narrative that I'm painting, I want you to understand that we all need to start feeling bad for this girl. And we have to start looking at her as a victim because what she says, I'm going to have to try to twist into making you believe that she's been a victim this whole time. And sometimes she's going to say things that makes her not look like a victim. So as long as I bring up her income and I start painting that picture, you'll go along with it just fine.
It's life-changing money here. That's money that doctors earn here once they're in their mid-30s.
So suffice to say, Pierogi was taking care of this girl, and it wouldn't be shocking to me if this girl wanted to do whatever she could to make sure that her income stream stayed incoming.
Hina started working for Pierogi at a monthly salary of $725, and eventually that got raised to $1,000. Hina was making more than triple the amount of money that everyone else around her was making.
And you best believe she earned it too.
The average monthly income of a working class person in America is about $6,200, which sounds insanely high to me, right? Am I just poor?
I agree, that's like incredibly high. I don't make that. Maybe we all are poor. We've been doing it wrong this whole time, guys.
But anyway, imagine tripling that to $18,600 a month. How would that impact your quality of life? How would that change your life? How would your life improve with that kind of income? And more specifically, what kind of things would you put up with in the workplace to continue making that amount of money?
Now, I want to flip that, all right? What would you do to keep making that kind of money? Not put up with, but what would you do to keep making that kind of money? I bet you would do a lot, right? And what's the best way to secure income? Become besties with the person who gives it to you.
This is what Hina was faced with while working for Scammer Payback.
Notice the word choice. She says this is what Hannah was faced with. Not that this is what Hannah worked to get. She was faced with. She was put into this situation. Now, I want you to listen to this next part because this is where you're going to start really seeing how cunning and smart Hannah really is.
How did you end up meeting Pierogi?
So I was randomly browsing YouTube one day and I was really bored. I found this video and it was like about a scam baiter and it was the raging series that he had where the Indian scammers would rage. If I remember correctly, I subscribed to his Patreon and joined his Discord server.
For that poor girl who didn't have any money to live on before she started working for Scammer Payback, she signed up for his Patreon where you pay to subscribe to get extra features. So she clearly had enough money to sign up for the Patreon.
And this is back before he reached 1 million subs, so it was still like it was busy, but it was a more calmed down server. That's how I got to kind of have casual conversations, and then eventually he needed help with a video. So I volunteered to help him get information on the scammer. Essentially, I thirst trapped a scammer boss for a video.
Did you hear that? She volunteered. She put herself in the situation to help out Pierogi with a video where she was going to become a thirst trap for a scammer that Pierogi was trying to get at the time. Pierogi didn't target Hina. Hina put herself in a position to be in the line of sight of Pierogi. This is important information, and I'm going to explain why later.
Basically, he posted on his Discord that he needed a Facebook account to add the scammer so that they could get access to the posts he was putting and stuff like that. So I added him, and I told him that I know how to thirst trap and stuff. So I ended up getting a lot of information from the scammer, a lot more than anyone thought I'd be able to get.
Yeah, can you talk about that experience a little bit? Because I know that there's videos about this specific scammer that Pierogi made using the information you were able to get.
It took around 3 months overall. Not really the work put in, but just the time span was almost 3 months to get all the information. I would have like 2-3 hour WhatsApp calls with him.
Wow.
Video calls. I was like, oh, I want to see your house and stuff. So he went out, he showed me the apartment where he lived, he showed me the outside of everything. He introduced me to his friends. And eventually by the end, I kind of convinced him that I was into scamming too. I told him, oh, I'm going to give you a victim. And this is when Pierogi did his 1 million subscriber stream.
I don't know if you caught that, but she said, I've been telling him I'm into scamming too, when she didn't do any kind of scamming at the time. This is just setting up the narrative that she's trying to get his attention, all right? She already went to his Patreon. She went to his Discord. She was obviously a fan of the guy. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that she was romantically attracted to this man.
Basically, he went online live. He took the call from the scammer. I started translating rapidly whatever the scammer was saying because they were speaking in Hindi and all of that. And he really liked that.
So he didn't pay you to thirst trap this scammer. That was a voluntary thing, right?
Yeah, it was a voluntary.
So how did that end up turning into a paycheck, a job?
I did the live translation then. I just started DMing Pierogi whatever I heard on the stream because I was tuning into the streams for a very long time. And after a couple of months, I just couldn't manage freelancing. I wasn't even freelancing. I was volunteering, translating at night and then going in the morning to work. It just wasn't feasible for me. So I told him that he should get either a new translator or, I need some compensation.
So she worked her way to this job. She proved her value to Pierogi, and Pierogi was like, yeah, you're actually really, really good at this. Let me take care of you. We don't want to lose you. You're a valuable asset to the stream. Let me make sure that you are well compensated for your time. Sounds like a real monster, doesn't he?
So he offered to give me a job.
How long were you doing the free translating before he ended up offering to pay you?
A couple of months.
Okay. Wow. I mean, that's a lot of free work to put into someone.
She's right. That is a lot of free work to put into someone. Do you think that maybe she put in all this free work because she really likes Pierogi? I don't know. Just something to think about. How many people do you know would do that much for your just a friend, right? You usually do that to someone who you're very attracted to and you want the approval of. I'm just trying to paint the true narrative here.
Yeah, that's why I was so reluctant to leave because one of the things was I worked so freaking hard to get this job. Let's say I put 6 months of volunteer work in, right? I worked really hard. I proved myself to them, right? Every time I think about kidding, I'd be like, I have to prove myself all over again to another person. I have to show them that I'm worthy. And that is so much time and effort. Do I still have that in me? I don't know because I'm still kind of collecting myself after everything that's happened.
Hannah put herself in this situation. She worked really hard, earned herself a job, was compensated for that job. Now we're going to get into where the relationship goes from professional into a personal one. And I think you'll be surprised at who was the one who initiated this personal relationship.
Server that you guys were in called the SP Intel Hub. Who used that server? Was it just you and Pierogi?
Just Pierogi and I. We were the only people in that server.
Okay. And what did you
I
guys...
made it.
Did you hear that? I made it. I made a server that was for me and him only, guys. Starting to get a picture here.
Oh, you made it. Okay. What did you guys use it for?
I was consistently messaging the translations in his DMs, right? So that's why I made the server so that we could have different, we could have it more organized. So if he needs to go back for, let's say, video editing or to choose what part of the live stream to put in the video, he could just easily access it.
Yeah, and it was very organized from the screenshots I saw. You guys had a lot of channels for translations
I did.
and Bitcoin wallets and personal information on the scammers.
I did.
And
I did all of that.
This is when it's gonna start getting a little spicy.
So this girl has been fighting to get Pierogi's attention. She finally got a way to isolate him away from everybody and get her own personal attention towards him under the guise of professionalism. This is probably the most important part to show what Hannah's real goal was here.
Would you like to explain what is HKD and what was the HKD Discord channel/channels?
So basically, HKD or Haiku Drunk started off as just Pierogi and I being good friends and, having small conversations. I told him that like HKD would be like a safe space where he can talk about whatever he wants to, and like we would forget, the channel will be deleted.
I don't know if you guys caught that, but she literally told him, hey, I created a channel for us to talk personally about whatever we want, and when it's over, it will be deleted. Now, why would it be deleted? Why would she warn him that anything you say in this channel will be deleted? Could it possibly be because she wants him to start talking to her personally and stuff that didn't have to do with the channel, and then she was trying to create a personal relationship with this guy? I don't know. You be the judge. But it sounds like that to me.
And so he can just talk about whatever he wants, whatever's kind of to just relieve his stress, right?
Please, Pierogi, confide in me. You can trust me. Anything we say will automatically be deleted. I promise. You can trust me. You can show me who you really are.
So we started with that, and eventually that led to me and him getting drunk and conversations kind of steering towards flirting and kind of stuff. Conversations kind of steering towards flirting and kind of stuff.
Do you hear that? Flirting. I don't know. I replayed it a couple times for you guys just so it really sinks in. She began flirting with him. And in the comment right there, you could see, how do you plan on keeping me awake? How do you plan on keeping me awake? Talk to me. Give me your attention.
Then he started asking for videos of me chugging for proof that I was actually chugging beer. I'm not good at handling alcohol at all, right?
I'm not good at handling alcohol at all, but I will do it because I want the attention of a guy I'm really attracted to.
So, especially not at Pierogi's level. He would be like, chug for 8 seconds. I can't see your throat. Like, go up a bit more. And that, from like the beer chugging, it went to lollipops. From lollipops, it went to Pink Buddy, which was a pink fighter.
This is what family does. They chug beer in honor of each other. Alcohol poisoning is a very real thing, and no one should drink as much as we do at Scammer Payback.
Oh yeah, she really looks like a big victim there. She doesn't look like she's having the time of her life flirting with a guy she likes. This is definitely victim mentality here. Poor girl.
To, scammer tears, man.
And basically, he would just create the server, DM me whenever he wanted to have like conversations and stuff. He'd just keep adding me. And then once he was done, he deleted. But he kind of eased me into it. It didn't start with social stuff. It started with friendly conversations and having a safe space to speak in.
And you guys would play like video games and stuff together too, right?
We were really good friends.
So this happened over a long period of time. Do you think that possibly her constantly flirting with him maybe kind of gave him the idea that maybe she liked him, and that maybe, him getting drunk and doing these dumb things would be okay because she's been clearly giving him signs that she's interested in him? I don't know about you, but that's what it looks like to me. It doesn't look like he's preying on her at all. It looks like she liked him, got him to like her back, and that's where we're at now. And what happens when people like each other? They escalate romantically. Now, clearly, he doesn't live near her, so the only thing he's got is his Discord messages. She's charmed him enough that where he cares about her and he wants her attention too.
There were a lot of messages between you guys. Like, we're talking like 50,000 messages, like a lot.
That's an important part right there. That she said there was like 50,000 messages between the two of them. You don't think throughout those messages it all started off with him just being straight up perverted, right? Or do you think that over time her charm wore on him and he felt like he was comfortable with her? He developed a relationship. Both consenting adults. Not one unwilling and one willing, both willing. All right? That's very clear. This idea that you're a predator because you reciprocate attraction is absolutely ridiculous to me, and honestly has run amok in today's social media climate.
I even told you I can see the friendship there. Like, the messages that were sent between DMs between you and Pierogi were friendly. It looked like a cordial, like consensual friendship, I guess, if that makes sense.
Because I did consider him my friend.
When did the sexual harassment really start?
Whoa, we can't go any further with you guys being both consenting adults. We need to get to the meat and potatoes. I got a video here. I got to expose somebody. We can't be talking about you guys both being consensual, consenting adults.
Like, how long were you working for him before it started?
I honestly don't remember, but I would say somewhere around 8 months. If I remember correctly, you didn't go through all of the messages on the original account because there were
There were
so many.
so
The one that he
many.
deleted. He never leaked HKT into the DMs because he knew he had to be careful. He knew it was a sensitive topic, obviously. That's why he created a channel and then deleted it.
Yeah, because he was essentially having an affair with you. Of course he didn't want that getting out.
But it did leak out sometimes because I would ignore him and then he would just at me consistently in DMs, thinking that, that would catch my attention.
All right, so you led this guy on, and then you turned your back to him, and then now all of a sudden he's a creep because he wants your attention after you clearly made it evident to him that you were attracted to him and that you liked having his attention. Do you see how this doesn't make any sense whatsoever? And this is just a big cunning ploy by her?
But also, like, he would at you in all the all the different channels in the Discord server. Like, he would blow up your notifications.
It got to the point where I was actually scared to be online. Like, I used to be someone who never used to set herself to invisible on Discord. I have been invisible on all social media platforms for almost 2 years now.
Now, I'm going to admit, Pierogi is a bit creepy here when he's like trying to get her attention, but let's not forget, right? This is someone who he considers a really good friend who he's built a rapport with almost a year ago, all right? So they've been friends for a year. It wouldn't be surprising that this guy really liked talking to her, especially if she was the one giving him signals that, hey, I'm your buddy. This is a safe space. You could tell me anything you want. And maybe he felt like he needed you. It doesn't make him a predator, all right? It makes him a human being. Granted, it's a creepy how much attention he tried getting from her, but that doesn't make him a predator, right? It makes him a guy who liked a girl when he shouldn't have. And if you were so afraid of him, then why do you still want to be friends with him? Like, this is what I don't get. If you fear him, why are you still trying to make sure that your friendship stays in place? Are you starting to see why this doesn't make any sense whatsoever and why this video is stupid? Like, if they came out and goes, hey, Pierogi had an affair, I totally get it. But to act like he's some kind of manipulative predator, I just don't buy it.
Strictly because he was kind of watching everything you were doing.
He was kind of stalky, yeah. So if I was on Twitter and liking stuff, he would be like, you're not replying to my messages on Discord.
Tell me, have you ever messaged someone and they don't answer you back, and in the back of your head you're thinking to yourself, man, they're not answering me. They must be ignoring me. What did I do? What did I do? This is my best friend. Why are they not talking to me? All right. It doesn't necessarily make him controlling. It makes him a concerned friend. Most people don't like being ignored by people. All right. And if you didn't like him contacting you, you should have spoke up and said that to him. At no point at all in this whole entire conversation do you ever express to him that you are uncomfortable with the amount of attention you are getting. All right. So you have to take fault here. You can't just put it all on him. That's not how life works. All right.
But you were active here. Or if I was appearing offline or in a call with my friends, he joined my private server. I invited him. And he'd be like, you should have told me that you were in a conversation with your friends. I'm waiting here, stuff like that. And then he'd eventually guilt trip me into leaving the conversation with my friends and paying attention to him.
All right, you claim he guilt tripped you here and made you leave to go be with your friends. Are you not an individual who can make your own choices? Just because he put you on a guilt trip and you left does not make that his fault. You should have stood up for yourself and said, hey, I'm talking to my friends. I will talk to you when I'm ready. You can't blame him, especially since this guy's clearly an alcoholic and he's suffering from alcoholism. All right, you can't put it all on him. You had a big part of this, and I know that you eventually take responsibility for this, but it's Savannah who's the one who's going to paint it like you're some kind of victim. You are not. You are a grown-ass woman. You can make your own choices. It's not like he was behind you, pushing you to do this. You decided to do this because he's your friend, all right? And you're the one who told him that he can confide in you whenever he wants and that you're going to be a safe space for him to talk about whatever he wants. You built this relationship. You built this dependency from him on you. You're treating him like a monster because he misunderstood the dynamic of your relationship that you set.
If I was online on Steam, he'd be like, oh, you're playing Dead by Daylight. Can you stream it for me?
He had a really strong hold on you. Like, he had his claws dug into you deep.
Look at the phrasing that Savannah uses here. Instead of being like, yeah, you guys must have had a really tight relationship where he really cared about your opinion and really enjoyed talking to you. Instead, she makes it sound like she's a field mouse and he's a hawk and he came and he dug his claws deep into her and made her stay there like some kind of, like he had her jailed in his basement or something. It's simply not the reality of the situation at all. She could have left anytime she wanted, but I guarantee that she enjoyed the attention that he gave her.
Honestly, the last 2 years of my life have only been pierogi. I am still kind of in pierogi withdrawals. There are times when I need my friend, and he's my friend. He's the person I talk to when I'm sad and upset for the last 2 years, and I've lost a friend.
Listen to the phrasing she chooses to use here. I'm going through pierogi withdrawal. That means she was addicted to this guy. You don't go through withdrawal from things you're not addicted to. As a former addict, I know this.
and I've lost my job, and I'm a complete mess.
Gee, it's almost like anybody else who has an affair with their boss in the workplace loses their job after the affair goes south. You took a risk, you wanted to make sure that bag kept coming, and it didn't pay off for you. It's not his fault. You both are at fault here.
He was my everything for 2 years. I woke up to his messages. I went to sleep to his messages.
He was my everything for 2 years. Does this sound like a girl who was being a victim? Sounds like a girl who was in love.
Work was about him. Every single moment, even if he's recording, he's messaging me, asking for how many shots to take or stuff like that, telling me how he's feeling, if he's like irritated with the recordings and stuff like that, or he's upset that he can't get everything done in one go.
About 8 months in is when he kind of started getting the sexual stuff going. How often, once it started, how often were you doing it?
It was like every day.
Every day. You notice how Savannah's making sure that the way she phrases questions make it sound like it's an attack on her and not like something she's willingly participating in.
Every day that he was hitting you up for it, or every day that you would actually give in and do it?
No, it was every day that I was being hit up for it. I've been abused in the past physically, and so this isn't something that I really enjoy. I just kind of complied with the sexual stuff. I know it doesn't seem like it in the screenshots and stuff, but I don't enjoy sex.
This is such a cop-out, man. It really is. You can't say, yeah, I did this with him every day, and it looks like in the text messages I'm having the time of my life, but I didn't really enjoy it. I swear to God, I didn't enjoy it. All those LOLs and happy faces. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that at all. Trust me when I say that.
Sexy talk and stuff makes me really uncomfortable. I was never really into it, but I know, because, I've had relationships and stuff, I know how to fake it really well.
Why were you faking, though? Why wouldn't you just tell him you weren't interested? Why play along? Because you like the attention. Like, let's be honest, all right? I'm sorry whatever happened to you in your past, and nobody should ever have to go through that. But to paint a broad brush on every guy that comes afterwards is the same exact thing. It's terrible. And it honestly, I expect better of Savannah from this.
I would usually agree to once a week in the beginning, but eventually I just couldn't do it. I just got to the point where I was just sending him old videos of nudes I made a while back, and I'm like, you know what? Fucking deal with this shit. I can't do it.
Now, I'm not saying she wasn't tired in the situation, but she's still sending him stuff, which is still telling him, hey, I'm still game. I'm still good for this. All right? It just doesn't make sense to me. Why would you do that?
You would say you were, like, sharing nude images and stuff with him, like, once a week?
Yeah. Actually, more than once a week, because I just didn't want to record more stuff. So I just sent him old stuff to wank too, yeah. And I told him that this is old videos and stuff, and reruns is what we would call it.
Wait, okay, so reruns, that's a good thing that you brought that up, because that is something I wanted to clarify, because there are multiple screenshots where he's saying reruns, and I didn't know if that meant like you were sending him old videos, or if he was just like thinking about you, or... I
was just sending him old videos because I can, and you'll notice that reruns are pretty common in the DMs.
They are,
because I just couldn't, like, at least for the last 6 months, I just could not.
I just couldn't. So what I would do is I built an entire index of stuff to make sure that I didn't lose this guy's attention, and I would just have an index of stuff I can send him. But yeah, he's a monster, total monster. It has nothing to do with me creating a whole index of stuff that I sent him to keep him entertained. It's not my fault. It's not my fault I sent him nudes. It's his fault for wanting to see them.
So I would just make excuses consistently.
Would you guys ever, like, video chat live together, or was it always just
the sexual stuff was only like messages? He wanted to do live when he would go out of city or somewhere. He'd say he'd get a private hotel room and we could live video call, but I'd say, yeah, totally, and then I would not reply.
This was around the summer of 2022, and Pierogi tells you he's going out of town, he's gonna have a private room to himself, and then he says, like, we're gonna have to plan many HKD sessions, many high-key drunk sessions.
It's time.
Yeah, gee, it's almost like this guy thinks it's okay because you keep sending him more stuff. Where in this whole entire conversation have you hinted to him even once? Even one time that you were uncomfortable with this? Not once. I'm sorry this is making me angry, but like this whole idea that this guy's a monster, yeah, he's a creep and a bit of a scumbag for cheating on his wife, but to act like he's some kind of manipulative freak when you're clearly sending him nudes again and again and again. I mean, come on, where's the accountability? You want to talk about accountability in this video?
Hina, let's go. I'm here. Ha ha. Low man. Yo. Fam.
I wanna, but I really can't. My depression is at an all-time low. I don't even have the desire to live anymore.
Oh dang. I'm sorry. What can I do to help?
Be there for me. There's no one.
Remember all the people you help.
I'm all alone, and it's suffocating.
I'm sorry, fam. Just know that you're helping people.
I know, Bossman.
And that's something to be proud of. We saved 2 huge-ass wire transfers last week. A good HKD will help for sure.
A good HKD.
Trying to make you laugh, fam.
After the first, I'm broke again.
Well, I'll pay ya.
Ooh, then tomorrow, beer time.
Yeah, she's really showing resistance. Now, I'll admit, Pierogi is a bit of a scumbag, but I mean, at least he tried to show a little bit of humanity. I mean, the guy's thinking with the wrong head, and he's probably drunk during this whole thing. I'm not excusing his behavior, but she's still complicit in what's taking place here, all right? He should have stopped what he was doing and had a normal conversation, so it makes him kind of a bad friend. And again, I just want to say I'm not supporting Pierogi in this at all. I'm just simply painting out that he is not a monster. He's just a guy who was thinking with the damn wrong head.
Gotta buy lube.
LOL. I gotta fly tomorrow, fam.
No.
So time to plan multiple HKDs, LOL.
My only companion?
While out of town.
ONG. Live HKD, yes. Daddy.
Possibly so.
Ooh, bathroom though.
Now, I want you to look at this, right? Apparently, this girl is in a bad way. She says, long HKD overdue. I'm excited now and happy. This guy thinks he's doing a good thing by getting her to take her clothes off. What kind of message is he supposed to understand from this? Granted, it's not appropriate and he's a terrible person for using her depression against her, but it's not like she's resisting. She's going along with everything this guy's saying. Where in his thought process would he think this is wrong when she's encouraging it?
What was the position?
By the way, October is my birthday month. You sending money today? Yes. Gonna reorder stuff from AliExpress and ask them for discreet packaging. And if I pay extra for shipping, it should arrive soon.
Never got the position, haha. Jokes aside, fam, it'll be okay. We have scammers to fry.
You shall get eat.
LL get what?
Position.
Ah, you sure?
Yes, sir. But I gotta order first. Position with Pink Buddy is difficult.
Yes. Well, thought you would have had by now, haha.
Pink Buddy kinda lost the charm. The silicone and the is kinda bent. Pain. Well, I bought a laptop, remember? $50K this month, last installment, and then I'm a rich woman again.
Oh, nice. We gonna have 2 call centers soon. So lots to be done, fam.
Oh, that will be amazing.
I know.
The new laptop is good, and I can connect it to the TV in my room.
One is 60 to 80 people.
So I can keep it on.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's why I bought it.
Have you figured out the position yet is the real question.
I have. And the angle. But RIP Pink Buddy.
You can still do it without in the interim laughing my ass off. Sheesh. Haha.
Now, after that little clip, in your opinion, does it feel like this girl is unwilling? Is she an unwilling participant in this whole thing? You got to ask yourself this. This is the meat and potatoes of the whole argument that Savannah's making with her video. I'm going to skip this next part just because there's really no point in adding it. But basically, the position they're talking about is they want her to like show her butt with like a toy going in certain crevices. You guys can probably use your imagination. It was a position he wanted her to do. All right, that's the part there. Now, I'm going to put the link to the full video in my description, so if you guys want to go find out exactly what it is, you little dirty dogs, you can go find out that, but I don't feel like it's important towards our argument here. You requested a specific picture, which anybody sexing usually does.
Tomorrow you can punish me properly, Daddy. I'll be a good girl from now on.
Okay, good. Are you sure?
Yes, Daddy. I need to be disciplined.
So what will you do for now to make up?
I can rerun.
Do you think that'll be good enough?
And practice properly tomorrow, Daddy. Will that make it up?
We will see.
I'll be a good girl for Daddy now.
All right, she's literally referring to Pierogi as daddy in all of her comments. All right, there's clearly a sexual relationship that takes place here that both adults are cool with. All right, there's not any resistance from either side. All right, they're playing the role playing, essentially. I never really got the whole daddy thing. I mean, as a father, and Pierogi's a father too. I mean, for me, it's just too far. I mean, I'm not here to kink shame anybody, but you know what? For me personally, that's a no-go, okay?
So another thing that he says a lot in the screenshots is tutorial.
All right, again, I'm going to skip ahead because we really honestly don't need all the sexual description of what they did. Just know that it's FW. Yeah, we're not, this ain't 50 Shades of EG, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna just skip ahead to the meat and potatoes, all right? The part where she admits that she takes fault for all this.
I had to go to really extreme excuses to make him stop.
So she goes to really extreme excuses to make him stop, but I guess she never once thought, hey, I'm not really feeling this tonight, leave me alone. That never crossed her head, not once.
So my excuse then was that I had a heart problem and I was in the hospital for that. Small excuses just stopped working by that point. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to die. I have a heart problem.
So she'd rather tell this guy she's about to die than just tell him she's not into the sexual stuff anymore. What is going through your head when you're doing this? Like, why is it so hard for her just to be like, hey, you know, I'm sorry. I'd rather just go back to being friends. Can we stop the whole sexual stuff? No, she says, I'm going to die. You make up something about dying. I don't get it. Actually, I do get it. She likes the attention from the guy, and this is her bag. Like, she wants to make sure she keeps getting her money.
And he still wanted to do HKD.
Hey, Hina. Daddy here. Hina. Hello, Hina.
Daddy, you gotta wait. I'm at the hospital, but I have been a bad girl. You gotta spank me.
Oh, yeah, does that look like real resistance to you? She says, Daddy, I've been a bad girl. You got to spank me after he messaged her like 90 times. Tell me exactly where he's supposed to pick up the hint he's not welcome to do this anymore. Where? Anywhere in here. Point it out. Find one time.
I wanted you to see my dick.
Daddy, I wanna see you so bad. See your it. Let it enter me.
Well, where have you been?
Hospital, Daddy.
Jesus Christ. I'm serious, guys. Are we supposed to believe this? If you have 2 brain cells in your head, you could pick up the fact that this girl is still leading him on completely.
Am I ever going to get you the implants? Also, how long is the hospital for?
Oh yeah, apparently they agreed to buy her implants or something. That's just a guy being a kind of a scumbag, which we already agree. All right, Pierogi's been being a scumbag this whole time. All right, just the fact he's married with kids and he's doing this makes him a scumbag. We're not arguing the scumbagginess, all right? We're arguing whether or not he was a predator and whether or not Hina's a victim. Hina, whatever it is.
I've been a very bad girl, Daddy. Promise to punish me later.
That's not a good girl.
Hospital for at least a year. But I'll be home by 10 p.m. It's 4 p.m. right now.
That's not good. Tisk, why have you been bad?
Why not good? I've been flossing while thinking of you, Daddy, and without you, so I've been a very bad girl.
Okay, what have you been thinking?
I've been thinking about all 8.5 inches of you, of how you'd how you'd fill me up with your.
All right, that's enough of that. Let's keep moving forward.
The only thing that had slowed down was him streaming. There would be a month where he wouldn't stream or 2 months where he wouldn't stream. I didn't do anything that month. What am I taking money for? And those months were the hardest. Like, those months were the ones where I actually had to cave in properly and do the videos.
All right, so basically he was still paying her for not doing anything for the channel, but mainly paying her for his videos and stuff, which she was clearly engaging in. So I don't know. You be the judge here. I mean, this is kind of feels like very prostitution-y to me, or cam girly. Like, he's paying her basically to be a cam girl. I mean, but it doesn't look like she's resisting at all. So you be the judge. Is he really being a predator, or is he paying her to supply a service to him? I mean, this got very professional, if you get what I'm saying, very fast.
There were months where he wasn't streaming and you weren't doing translating work for him. So, like, in order to justify him paying you, you would give in to more shit with him.
Eventually it became like, he'd be like, I'm sending him your salary, so let's do HKD after. So
in my opinion, that's not okay. That's not an okay relationship to have with your employees.
I mean, I never thought of him as my employer. I always thought of him as my best friend.
Now that's key, all right? She said, I never thought of him as my employer. I always thought of him as my best friend. So this is where Savannah's going to start trying to coach her into being a victim, basically, when she's saying, no, we were cool, man. We were like having a good time. I was getting paid. We were being romantically involved. But this is where Savannah's going to start trying to twist the narrative a little bit. Even though it's probably not okay, it's none of our business. If she's getting paid and she's supplying him a service, and that's the agreement between the two of them, where are we to come in and say he's a predator? All right, at no point, again, does she ever voice to him that she's uncomfortable what's going on here. If anything, he is guilty of being a pervert and being unfaithful.
Were you afraid that if you didn't comply with his advances that you would lose your job?
He never said it openly, but I was afraid. I've always been insecure about my position at Scammer Payback. It's not something Pierogi did. It's just me and my insecurities.
That is a huge statement right there. All right. She said she's always felt insecure about her job at Scammer Payback, and that's nothing that Pierogi did. That was her own insecurities surfacing. Okay. So you can't use your own insecurities against someone else in an exterior fashion, if that makes sense. Like, I can't blame you for me feeling insecure and not voicing to you any concerns I have.
But I was always insecure about my position at Scammer Payback. I always felt like I was very easily replaceable. So I always felt like I had to go above and beyond to make sure I kept my position.
All right, do you guys remember in the beginning of the video when I said that she knew what she was doing and she was going to do whatever she could to keep making sure she was getting that income? Well, this is her confirming that to you.
Every time you bring up a screenshot or stuff like that, I'm just like, oh my God, did that actually happen? There are times when my friends would share screenshots of stuff I said to them, or like a screenshot of stuff that P said to me.
So she told Pierogi that these were personal discord between her and him, and nobody else was going to see it, yet she's sending all this stuff to her friends. You don't think at any point of this was kind of a setup? You don't think at any point she was keeping these in her back pocket? Channel was designed to be deleted after they were using it, then why was she saving these photos? Do you ever think that it might be because when she stopped getting that income, she was going to need a new stream, and the best way to do that was to expose this guy? You don't think she was setting up for her future? She's not a victim, guys. This girl knew exactly what she was doing the whole entire time.
And I'd be like, holy shit, I really didn't want to go along with it. But I don't remember those stuff. I just remember me complying. I don't really remember.
So, like, if you were to look back at the screenshots the next day, like, would you have, like, hazy memories of it at all, or?
If it was the next day, it would be hazy, but, like, let's say a month from now, I won't remember anything.
She conveniently doesn't remember anything when she's sitting there doing all this stuff with him. I mean, you were doing it for years, so of course I'm sure it all meshes together, but conveniently, you forgot what you were doing. I find it hard to believe.
One very important thing here that I'd like to emphasize is consent. I appreciate that Hina is very open and aware of her involvement in all this. However, in the United States, for example, there have been many court cases and criminal trials, not saying that this is a criminal trial at all.
I don't buy this bullshit that you can't consent when you're clearly sitting there typing out your responses.
Obviously not, never will be, but anyway. There are cases galore, essentially establishing that someone who is intoxicated, especially someone who is heavily intoxicated, cannot give consent. Hina often found herself waking up the next morning with very hazy memories of the previous night's HKD session, if not totally forgetting the whole thing entirely.
Do you see what Savannah does here? She uses other cases and he applies them to this while also saying that this case does not compare to them. I don't even know what the hell she's doing here. She's trying to use other cases to guilt him when clearly they're completely two separate things. He was not there. He's not there in person. It's online. It's sexting. There's no sexual assault that takes place here. I do not understand why she's trying to mix the two. Clearly, she's comparing other cases and applying them to this case when this case has absolutely nothing to do with other cases. That's why she disqualifies it right away when she says this case will never be a lawful case, because she clearly sees the consent, but it doesn't make sense for her video, and it doesn't make sense for the narrative she's trying to push with this video. I'm sorry I'm getting angry, but this is bullcrap. This is a man's life we're talking about, not to mention a man who does a lot of good. If you would have came out and said I had an affair with this guy, I would completely be on board with this video, but you're not. You're trying to paint him like some kind of monster. And he's not, all right? He's a guy who had an affair. It makes him a scumbag, doesn't make him a predator.
A good rule of thumb that most articles that I've read on the topic suggest that if someone is intoxicated to the point where they're incapable of making reasonable judgments and decisions, they're probably too intoxicated to consent.
Meanwhile, the other party is also completely intoxicated. So where is that line drawn from, all right? If he's intoxicated and she's intoxicated and they sex for a night, how does that make okay for her but not okay for him? It makes no sense. It's a double standard. Absolutely double standard here.
If you even need to question whether or not somebody is too intoxicated to consent, they're probably too intoxicated to consent.
But not too intoxicated to type.
And then in that case, you probably should not pursue anything with that person. While personal responsibility is something that should be practiced in all aspects of life, if you're being pressured to drink excessive amounts of alcohol, if you're literally chugging multiple beers to the point where your memories of that previous night are totally wiped out, you're probably too drunk to consent to activity.
I understand the argument Savannah's making here, but what she's lacking to understand is that clearly Henna was okay with doing this. And she kept leading him on. When he'd come in, spank me, daddy. Daddy, I've been bad girl, spank me. Yeah, by all means, he should have realized that she was too drunk to do anything. Come on, give me a break, dude. This is such a reach. You're gonna break your arm reaching this far.
And there's no objective level of intoxication to where someone can no longer give consent. That has not been established. But what has been well established is that alcohol and drug consumption plays a big role in determining whether or not a victim can consent to sexual activity.
Yeah, you keep forgetting to add that he was trash too, Savannah. He was just as intoxicated as her. So where is that line at?
So given all of this, would you consider all of this to be cheating? Because as we know, as he's very open about, according to you, I don't really watch his stuff, but according to you, his wife is like a well-known person in the land of pierogi, and we also know that he has a family. He has kids.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would consider it cheating, yes.
So you're calling yourself a homewrecker. That's what she is. She is a homewrecker. She targeted him, found him, liked his videos, was attracted to him, got his attention, got him to cheat on his wife. Where is her responsibility in all this? Because if she has some, she has a bunch of it. But no, let's point the fingers at him. He's the evil one. When she targeted him, he didn't go out his way to go find her. She went out of her way to find him and get in his line of sight and manipulate him till she got what she wanted from him. And now she's trying to destroy his life.
I would
also consider myself a guilty party in that, so I'm sorry.
There was a power dynamic there.
I applaud Hina for taking responsibility in her part in all this, but Savannah immediately goes to try and bail her out and act like she didn't do nothing wrong, when you know damn well, Savannah, she did something wrong. Don't play the power dynamic card. She already told you she didn't look at him as a boss, she looked at him as a friend. So why are you bringing this into it, if not for anything else but to try to make him look like a predator? This is where my narrative with you is the problem, all right? If you're going to treat him like that, you need to treat her the same way, because both of them are guilty parties.
Even if there was a power dynamic, at the end of the day, I'm the person that ended up being a guilty party and kind of destroying, I hope it doesn't destroy his family, but I was equally a part of that. I should have said no.
Ding, ding, ding. There you go. All right. That is why Savannah's video is dumb. All right. I think it's a good video. It exposed a lot of stuff that maybe needed to be heard and maybe needed to be a wake-up call for Pierogi. But to try to paint him as a predator right after you just heard what Hina said, or Henna, whatever the hell you say her name, it's one of them. All right? She's taking accountability. Why can't you let her take accountability? Why do you have to constantly try to manipulate it to make Pierogi look like the jerk-off?
I knew he was married with kids. I mean, if I want to get him held accountable, I have to hold myself accountable too.
And what more do you need than that?
In my opinion, while Henna says things along the lines of like, I should have said no, I could have said no, I shouldn't have gone along with it, I don't think that she was in the right state of mind to reasonably agree to cyber with Pierogi. Again, just my personal opinion, and obviously this probably doesn't apply to every circumstance.
Yeah, it doesn't even apply to this circumstance, Savannah. Come on.
But given what we know, I think it probably applies to a lot of them.
Just because it applies to other people's circumstances doesn't mean it applies to this. It has absolutely nothing to do with this one. Even the victim said herself, I did this. Why are you trying to victimize her? She knows what she did. Come on, I'm clapping now. That's how upset I am. Up until now, I've always thought that Savannah was a good creator, all right? I think she really thinks she's doing something nice here, but boy, did she swing and miss on this one.
As a matter of fact, I would say that she felt pressured to comply with Pierogi's advances.
I think it's a mix between the two. I mean, she was getting paid, so of course she wanted to keep doing it. She was getting money.
Because she was worried about her job security. Pierogi was obviously intoxicated as well, but again, in my opinion, that doesn't absolve him from personal responsibility.
No one's saying it does. Of course he is responsible for his part in this, but to paint him as something he's not is where I have the problem.
And in my opinion, the one out of the two of them that had the responsibility to make sure that their relationship did not cross that line was the one paying the other's salary.
Everybody knows that Pierogi should not have done this, all right? It's a bad look.
I mean, I don't know how he handles that much alcohol. I get drunk after a beer or two, but like, I don't know how he handles that much alcohol.
It's pretty easy. He's an alcoholic.
I mean, some of the screenshots,
really
you guys were saying like, oh, I'm like 6.5 shots in or something like that, like crazy stuff. I'm like, dude, I would be on the floor.
No, it would start like, by the end, it's like we always start with 3 shots. It always depended on his mood. If he He would drink however much he wanted to drink, but he would still put it on me.
Do you feel like you enabled his drinking?
I definitely do.
I gotta say, I got respect for Hina Bobina, for taking credit, for taking accountability on enabling his alcoholism. Clearly Pierogi has an issue that he needs to solve. All right, nobody's denying that. But again, trying to paint him like he's some kind of manipulative monster, that's not okay. Guy's got a problem, Savannah. If anything, you need to help him, not point fingers at him and say, how dare you?
Yeah, I definitely did.
Do you feel like he enabled your drinking?
Yeah.
He would stream drunk all the time, though, right?
Yeah.
I don't see what streaming drunk has anything to do with this video, other than just trying to make him look bad, which is all you're doing right now. You're just trying to make him look bad.
It breaks my heart at how hard Hina is on herself. And it's obvious that the two of them enabled each other's drinking. However, in my opinion, that power dynamic between the two of them says that most of the responsibility lies on Pierogi.
Bullshit! Sorry. I got an allergy.
To make sure that these things don't happen. I say that again, in my opinion, because Pierogi regularly works with people who are from the same part of the world as Hina. He is aware of the economic conditions of that part of the world. He is aware of how desperate people are for money, given that his entire job is to expose and shut down scam call centers.
Just so you guys all know, this is all speculation. She has no clue what his thinking process was going into this. She's like Bob Ross painting a tree. Let me put a pretty little predator here. Let me put a pretty little assault here. She had no clue what his thought was. Maybe he loved her. Maybe he did fall in love with her. Maybe he liked her. Why does it have to be always predatory, dude? It's stupid.
In the Middle East, that employ people who are so desperate for money that they're willing to make their living by stealing it from innocent people.
Is she really trying to take the side of the scammers right now? Because Pierogi is on the other side of this argument? Are you really doing that? That's crazy to me. The fact that you would support scammers just to make Pierogi look bad.
I just find it hard to believe, again, my opinion, that Pierogi never considered this power dynamic that he had over Hina. Being her boss was at least a partial contributor to her willingness to go along with everything.
Yeah, I'm sure the conversations where she's like, I've been a naughty girl, spank me, has absolutely nothing to do with why he behaved the way he did.
Also, Pierogi is the married one. He has children, he has a family. He supposedly takes his faith so seriously that he's dedicated enough to go to church every Sunday.
Yeah, and he does a homewrecker. None of us are perfect.
Or at least on a pretty regular basis.
So from what I understand, his wife is the one who's mainly extremely religious. From what I've understood, he does enjoy church mass a lot. He loves Sunday church. He goes to different cities for church.
I don't understand why they're bringing up his religion. Is this like a way to trash Christians or something? It makes no sense to me. What does his Christianity have anything to do with this story?
Stuff. So he's definitely religious, but he's kind of toned down speaking about his beliefs online because he became a bigger YouTuber and a bigger content creator. So he couldn't really speak about religious views later on. So he would message me around 3 a.m. his time, like before Sunday Mass. And he'd be like, I'm going to Sunday Mass today. And then he'd be like, let's do HKD before that. So he'd get drunk and HKD. And then he'd come back from Sunday Mass and he'd tell me, oh, I heard the priest and I have a new look in life and stuff like that. So he was really into the religious aspect of things.
Right.
I just have a hard time understanding why this is important right now. I mean, yeah, he goes to church. He got drunk before he goes to church. That's probably not a good idea. But, the guy's an alcoholic. What do you expect? I mean, if anything, this guy needs help. He needs to go to rehab and get his life together and dry out, right? As someone who's been through, not alcoholism, but has been through addiction, we do dumb things. It doesn't define who we are. If I was defined by all the things I did when I was an addict, I'd be in jail and nobody would ever talk to me ever again. But luckily, I cleaned my life up and I put myself together. And it's pretty easy for Pierogi to do that if he wants to. But we're holding a guy accountable who was an alcoholic, a really bad alcoholic. And we're expecting him to have been a saint, all right? I'm not excusing his actions. I'm just explaining why this attack is absolutely atrocious and has zero merit to it. All right, maybe I didn't do anything that bad when I was an addict. I just want to clear that up. I wouldn't be in jail. But I wasn't a great guy, let's put it that way.
Pierogi is the one who ultimately eased her into the idea of having a sexual relationship.
Was that before or after the "how are you gonna keep me up" comment? Because it sure looked like to me that she was the one who initiated the flirting. Maybe I'm blind. Maybe I misread that. But if you go back to the beginning of the video, it certainly looked like she was the one who was trying to convince him to stay up with her.
A married Christian man should never lust after another woman, let alone initiate the sexual relationship.
And a woman should never go after a man who's married. How about that?
There are some things that we know about Pierogi, his life, his faith, and those are foundational things in many people's lives. And he went against all of them. He had the initial responsibility, in my opinion, not to engage in a relationship like this, but he did anyway.
And Hannah shouldn't have gone after and started flirting with a man who is clearly married, joined his Patreon, volunteered to work for him. What else did she do to get into his attention? Start a server with just those two? Are we not going to bring up that? Are we not going to hold her accountable? Is this all Pierogi? It's only Pierogi because Pierogi has 7 million subscribers. That's why it's centered on him. And it's just not right.
Even if she was pursuing him first.
She literally just admitted to her pursuing him first. Are we going to just glance over that? Home wrecker, baby. Home wrecker.
He had the responsibility to shut that down, not only as her boss, but as a husband and as a father.
I actually agree with that. It's the only thing I probably agree with Savannah. This whole thing is that he should have known better. All right, guys, look, take this as an example. All right, he fucked around and he found out. All right, she came forward, exposed everything he did. If you think you're having like a secret little flingy ding, it's gonna come out eventually because clout is king and everybody wants it, and they don't care who they gotta crush or who they gotta expose. No matter how much they love them, they'll get that clout somehow, and your stuff will be out for everybody to see. Pierogi just learned this the hard way. And Savannah, she's going to be left with a little bit of egg on her face, let's be honest.
So while I was working with him, I ended up becoming extremely isolated. My only point of contact for work was Pierogi. Eventually, I was able to contact the editor, but we didn't really have conversations. If I really wanted to have a conversation about work or anything, it would be with Pierogi.
Again, more evidence that she only wanted to talk to Pierogi. She said she talked to an editor, but then she went back to talk to Pierogi. All right? I mean, I don't know what more you guys need. Just some conclusions that I want to put out there, okay? Basically, if you want to watch Savannah's video and see what the rest she says, the link will be in the description. But it's just more of the same. It's more of her admitting that she did everything she could to get Pierogi's attention, and then when she got it, it was too much for her, so she decided to expose the guy. You know, I think the evidence in this video is more than enough to show you guys that Pierogi is not a predator. He was a victim of a girl who liked him too much and got his attention in a weak moment. He was suffering from alcoholism, and Savannah just ran with it and created this whole narrative that he's a predator and he's a, monster and all this stuff, which frankly just isn't true. All right, now I want to say, do not go to Savannah's page and hit her with harassment or like be mean to her, because again, I want to say that up until now, I think Savannah is a pretty good creator. All right, I think that a lot of the stuff she does is pretty solid. This was just a big miss. All right, and I know she's trying to take the side of like girl power and stuff like that, but when you do that, you're ignoring yourself to the actual evidence that's taking place. And throughout the video, you can see that Savannah knows that this is going to come off poorly because she kind of doubles down on making sure she throws in a little bit of the other view here and there just to show that she could see it, but she's just not siding with it. And that's where we ended up getting this horrible exposed video. It's basically trash. It's a hit piece. She could call it not a hit piece all she wants, but this is 110% a hit piece on Pierogi. Pierogi does a lot of good work in the world. All right, I can't even tell you probably the millions of dollars he's saved for people. We need him to keep doing his thing. All right, it's good for everybody that Pierogi's out there doing this. Scam Baiters is an amazing channel and it does great work. Again, this doesn't excuse Pierogi from being unfaithful or making bad decisions like he has, and I think it's very obviously due to his alcoholism. It's not because he's a monster, probably because he feels empty inside, and she was giving him some kind of like purpose by showing that she was attracted to him. Probably made him feel good because he felt when you're suffering with this kind of stuff, you feel so low and empty, right? But once you get off it, you get clarity, and I think that Pierogi ended the relationship with her because at one point he got clarity that what he was doing was wrong, and I'm sure that went right up Hyena's ass, and she is all upset now, so she's exposing him. You could see in the messages he was still being friendly towards her, and it stopped what he was doing to answer her, and she was like, I'm gonna expose you, and he stopped talking to her, rightfully so. No friend of yours would expose you, and she should have went to him first and said, listen, I don't like what we did, can we talk about it? But no, instead she went straight to Savannah and said, make a hit hit piece on this guy. He hurt me. He don't talk to me no more. Let's make sure that we expose his ass. That is exactly what I think happened here. So if Savannah wants to speculate, I'm going to speculate on the other side. All right. Again, for the 50th time, I'm not excusing Pierogi's infidelity. Is that infidelity? Okay. It is infidelity, but at the same time, he's not this monster. All right, this guy made a huge mistake, and I'm sure he's feeling the wrath of that with his family. I'm sure his wife's angry with him. His life's probably like all in shambles right now from this announcement. All right, he doesn't need any more punishment. We can't cancel a guy who doesn't deserve to be canceled. Did he fuck up? Hell yeah. If we abuse this cancellation exposure bullcrap on YouTube, all right, everybody's going to be just trying to cancel everybody for clout. We can't do that. All right, Savannah, you say you pride yourself on being a fair judge of character. How did you not see that this girl went after him and was pretty much being a homewrecker? It's not the first time it's happened. It's probably not going to be the last time it happened. All right, but the point of the matter is, if you want to look at something, hold her accountable too. You should have asked her questions about why she did this. Why did she go after him? Instead, it was easy to blame him because he wasn't there to defend himself. But you didn't ask hard questions. You weren't like Barbara Walters. You immediately sided with her because she gave you an interview and she reached out to you. And I'm sure you felt pretty good about her reaching out to you and giving you this exclusive. As a creator, I love that stuff. If somebody reached out to me and gave me an exclusive on something, I'd probably be more team them and want to paint them in a good light. But at the same time, you're losing credibility with your audience because you're not giving them a fair journalistic take on the matter. All right, you should have asked her more questions about her pursuing him because clearly she did. All right, you don't just go sign up for some creator's Patreon because you're not interested in them. All right, that's just the way the world works. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. All right, it's an infatuation. Some fans develop relationships with creators because they see them all the time. They think they know them. I'm sure she felt the same way about Pierogi. She liked his attitude. She liked the cut of his jib. She wanted to get closer to the guy. She got so close. And then by the time it was done, she had to cover her ass because her bag stopped coming. She needed to expose him. And I wouldn't be shocked if Henna starts a content creator career from this whole thing because you need to start with something, right? You got to stand out of the crowd. But I'm just saying, if we're going to do this, if we're going to call out people, we got to do it fairly because you know what it is? It's a slap in the face to anybody who's actually suffered from someone who's abusive, someone who actually experiences true manipulation, true control, true gaslighting. Like, this guy thought this girl liked him, and by all intents and purposes, and all the text messages you saw, it looked that way to me too. You can't sit here and tell me that girl didn't go after Pierogi and try to manipulate him into liking her. If anything, she might be mad. I've seen The Sopranos. I know what happens when the mistress gets upset that Tony Soprano isn't leaving his wife. They go crazy. This is her going crazy, and Savannah, you're co-signing her bullshit, and I expect better of you. I really do. Like, I'm hard on you in this video, but I just expect better from you, all right? And I'm a super small creator. You might not even ever see this video, but I promise you, like, I do have faith in your ability and your journalistic integrity. I think you're a great creator. I just think you need to do better. I know you're like all girl power, let's go girl, yas queen, that's all you. But you know what? Like, at the same time, people aren't stupid. I saw it in your comments. Like, if you go on comments of Savannah's page and see the comments underneath this video, people are all calling her out for the same thing. And she's being sassy and responding, which I give her credit for. But at the same time, guys, like, people aren't as dumb as we think. All right, clearly you see that this girl went after him. I mean, you can't hide that fact. All right, I'm sorry for my rant, but this stuff really pissed me off today. I was watching this and I'm like, she's got to be covering this with straight blinders on. Now, I know you're trying to probably be nice to the girl because you were interviewing her, but at the same time, if you want to be taken seriously as a creator and you want to have journalistic integrity, you have to ask the tough questions. Like, I would have loved to hear, did you pursue him? Were you after him? Did you know that he had his wife? Did you care? I mean, she literally said that in the video that she knew he was married. Didn't stop her from sending her position pics, he had a whole index of nudes for the guy. Come on, you gonna tell me that guy she manipulated him? Or do you think that she was like, oh, this guy's paying me a lot of money. I gotta make sure that money keeps coming. If anything, he was a sugar daddy, online sugar daddy. That's good for him because she didn't even have to leave her home to get that bag. I'm sorry for the rant, guys, but you know what? I really feel passionate about this, that we're out here destroying people's lives so recklessly, so unbelievably recklessly, that we're not stopping and thinking about the carnage that we're creating. This man has kids. This man, Henna should have went to him first and talked to him, not drop it after you already did the interview with Savannah. You're not a good friend either, Henna. I don't care what you say. You can act like you're a good friend to him all you want, but you're not. All right? Good friends help you bury a body. They don't go to someone exposing you. Good friends wouldn't expose them. A good friend would be like, listen, man, your behavior is concerning me. I feel like maybe we should try and change something up because this isn't the look, bro. But no, you went and exposed him. You can't sit here and tell me that wasn't a planned effort. You want revenge on a man who didn't leave his wife for you. Call it what it is. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. I don't know what video I'm putting up here, but go check it out. It's probably really good. Peace.